people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to...
Well, perhaps the West Indies should have been batting first in all of their matches. Hello, welcome to On Tour. As we look back at the West Indies and South Africa T20 series in Grenada, it's West Indies 2, South Africa 2. After match number 4, the Windies fighting back after 2 back-to-back defeats to play a fantastic match and win in this 4th T20. Let's have a look at the scorecard and see how things went at the Grenada National Stadium in St. George's. The West Indies losing the toss on this occasion, South Africa asking them to bat first. They made 167 for 6. The captain, Kieron Pollard, finishing off with a fantastic knock, unbeaten 51, 5 sixes, 2 fours. Lendl Simmons at the top leading the way. He had 4 fours and 4 sixes in making 47. Shamsi, 2 for 13. The spinners did well. Linde, 2 for 16. And the West Indies making 167, which has been the par score for the team batting first in all 4 of these matches. Well, when the South Africans replied, they seemed to be a little bit out of gas, and they fell short at 146 for 9 in their 20. The West Indies won by 21 runs. But the story was the same in terms of the leading run score. Quinton de Kock, 60 at the top, but none of the other batsmen really supported him on this occasion. It was the veteran Dwayne Bravo, 4 for 19, a fantastic spell of bowling. Andre Russell also picked up a couple of wickets, 2 for 30, and I thought that the West Indies generally looked more disciplined. They bowled much better, and they played with real purpose, even though there might have been still some hiccups in between. So it's all set for what should be a fantastic finale on Saturday in St. George's. Weather permitting, because we know that Tropical Storm Elsa has been affecting the Eastern Caribbean, and it could mean that if it does indeed hit Grenada on Saturday, well, don't look for any cricket at all. So we're hoping that the weather stays and we're going to have a great finish to this T20 series. With me, of course, is Tino Best, the former Barbados and West Indies fast bowler. We've got Sir Clive Lloyd back from his duties internationally. He's there looking as bright as ever. Hello, Sir Clive, the former Ghana and West Indies captain. And Johnny Barron, who's been doing a great job for the BBC there in the County Championships and the T20 Blast. He's back with us as he continues to do his commentary there for the BBC on this international series. We're going to do age before beauty on this occasion and talk to Sir Clive Lloyd first, the most senior and experienced man. Sir Clive, the West Indies look much more purposeful with their batting, even though there were still some hiccups. But they made that power score of 167, and it was enough. Talk to me, Sir Clive Lloyd, about the West Indies batting and indeed after the South Africans won the toss.
Yes, I think that the captain played, a terrific innings. And at one stage, it looked like 130 would have been the most they will get. They would have made. But the point is that he played quite well. Young Fabian batted with him, and they got to 160 odd, and they defended it quite well. Bravo being the lead bowler, and he mixed it up quite well. And he got four wickets, which threw the spanner in the works to the South Africans. So the West Indies had to win this game because they knew that this was the game that if they didn't win, well, they would have lost the series, and they've already lost the Test series. So the point is that there's all to play for on Saturday, and I hope the weather stays away.
Tino, let's really give some credit here to Kieron Pollard. I mean, people are pretty harsh on him when he loses. But time and time again, how often have we seen Kieron Pollard play this fantastic finishing of an innings? He's 51 from just 20 odd balls, 5 sixes and 2 fours. He was spectacular. No doubt about him batting today.
Yeah, he really left the South African shell shocked. And look, we are not surprised by this performance. Kieron Pollard is so experienced when it comes to finishing innings. We've seen it time and time again in around the world in all the T20 leagues. But to do it for West Indies is even more heartwarming, because really and truly, I want to see the big boys doing well for West Indies cricket. And he finished that innings marvelous. Look, I was in the gym with a client, and I was saying we need 150. If Russell stays there, we're going to get 170. If the captain stays there, we're definitely going to get 170. But the way he manhandled Rabada, which is one of the best fast bowlers in the world, was absolutely wonderful to watch. And this is what West Indies cricket is. We got too much talent in that lineup and too many finishers not to get 170, 180 minimum when our top order don't click. And I must say, I thought that Lyndall Simmons came in the team and batted well. I thought he batted well for his 47, and he really gave a little impetus to that power play as well, him and Evan Lewis. So I think they had me a little nervous at one point going into the 17th over, but I figured that once Pollard came off, Barry, I know that we were going to get a good score and a fighting score as well.
I want to still stick to you, Tino, on one question. The West Indies have got 4 openers in this squad. They've got Simmons, they've got Evan Lewis, they've got Andrew Fletcher, and there's still Chris Gayle and they're lingering. Isn't this the best partnership in terms of Simmons and Lewis out of the 4 openers being picked? How do you view that?
I think I like this combination, but I would like to see Andre Fletcher at 3. If anything, and let him wicket keep. Pooran is in no form, and we can't play Pooran in this final game. Chris Gayle didn't come off again. Yes, he may have got a wicket, but I would definitely bring in. I will find a place for Gayle and maybe bat him at 4. But Fletcher has to play and he has to wicket keep. We can't carry on Pooran any longer, especially in this critical game 5. If he plays, I'll be very disappointed in the selection. We have to get Fletcher in. I don't know if Fletcher is injured. I don't know what's happening in the camp because I'm not there. But looking in from my perspective, I think we have to find space for Fletcher. Fletcher is one of our better T20 players, and he can wicket keep as well. He is a wicket keeper.
Let's talk South Africa now. We're going to bring in the international man, the BBC correspondent, Johnny Barron. Johnny, the spinners. We've been talking all season long in the test about the impact of Nokia, Rabada, and Ngidi. But we've seen the spin in this T20 play a crucial part and a crucial role for the South Africans. Shamsi, look at him. Your thoughts on how the spin played that role in limiting the West Indies and really stifling them in the middle despite Pollard's brilliance?
Well, I think to start with, I think South Africa played almost the perfect game for the first 17 overs. And the 8 overs of spin went for 29 runs between Shamsi and Linda. I thought they were absolutely superb. I thought the pitch turned as well. And I thought actually that the West Indies might struggle with the fact that firstly they left out Sinclair. And then of course, Fabian Allen, that injury I thought might be a real factor. But I thought the South Africans bowled pretty well, apart from the last 3 overs, of course, going for 55 with that extraordinary hitting at the death. But up until that point, 112 for 6 after 17 overs, you'd expect to win a game like that 9 times out of 10 before Pollard's hitting.
And, you know, did you think that the South Africans did the right thing by putting the West Indies into bat? I mean, after all, they've had the success batting first. Why didn't they bat first on this pitch? What do you think made their mind up that they were going to indeed put them in?
Yeah, it's a bizarre one. I think there was a little bit of talk, wasn't there, in the build-up to the game that the pitch might be a little bit more seam-friendly with the weather conditions around, but nothing could be further from the truth. To be honest, it turned, didn't it? And South Africa, having defended twice, scores of 166 and 167, you'd expect them to go on and do that in that fourth game, but they chose to go the other way around. And another score of exactly the same, 167, which, as you pointed out, seems to be par. And, the West Indies defended it magnificently. One of the problems for South Africa is they just don't score at 10 and over in the last 5 overs of an innings. That's a real problem. They haven't got the power hitting that the West Indies possess. That's the big factor.
Quinton de Kock, how well did he bat?
Yeah, I thought he was absolutely superb, Quinton de Kock. I mean, what a series he's had. 2 50s back-to-back, other scores in this series as well. An extraordinary test series. He's the man. And while he was there for South Africa, you felt that they may well get over the line. But when he was finally polished off, that was the icing on the cake for the West Indies.
So, Clive, talk to me about Dwayne Bravo. Many might have criticised him coming back into international cricket. But he's proven that he is indeed still someone that has got it. And he did it consistently with 4 wickets. Talk to me about Dwayne Bravo.
Well, yes, he's a tremendous cricketer. There's no doubt about that. He's proven, he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody again. He's done it all over the world, really. And he is somebody that you can call on if there's a crisis situation, and he comes up trumps. So he's a marvelous person to have in your side. He thinks about his game. He understands, the game of itself. He reads it quite well. What I would hope is that the West Indian players cannot continue to make 160 and hope that they're going to win games, because they have better batting sides that will be able to handle the bowling. They have to think of getting more than that. And when they're batting too, I think they're not handling the spin very well. And I would think that I hope that they concentrate on how they have to play them, and don't just think that we're going to try and hit sixes, and knock them all over the park. These guys know that we're a little bit vulnerable to spin, so we will have to sort of temper that by trying to milk them and not give away our wickets, because we think that sixes are the things in this 2020 the T20 game. No, it isn't. You can still get fairly big scores by hitting the ball along the ground.
All right, you're watching On Tour. When we come back, time to get interactive with our fans. And indeed, we encourage you to send us your WhatsApp messages. You can also send us a voice note or even a video thought about the match. And please send it to the number there on screen. The number is right there for you to see. 246 is the area code, 284-7554, our Flow number for our Flow interaction. We're going to take in a couple of messages and look at what the fans are saying when we come back on tour.
To the top, it's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand, it's time to the top, it's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand, it's time.
Welcome back then to On Tour. We continue to have the interaction from fans. We love to hear from you. Send us your messages, send us a voice note, or send us a little video, not more than 30-35 seconds though, to the number there. Let's put the number up for you on screen. That's how you can reach us on tour as we continue to hear from you. Hopefully the match on Saturday is going to start on time, because the rain has been in the air. All right, without further ado, let's see who we've got. Mr. Producer Rivelino Simmons, pull up the first message. Let's see who we've got. And this message comes, it says, "Good day. I think the West Indies had the winning formula in the first game. We beat them emphatically. We are experimenting against one of the best teams in the world. Is it overconfidence? I don't know, but it doesn't make sense to me. Win the series, then try whatever you want." Tino Best, how do you view that particular thought?
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about experimenting with the South African team. I honestly believe that West Indies have a wonderful opportunity to continue to execute what they want to do in big tournaments. That is what series is about. Series is about playing the right players, putting them in position of pressure to see how they handle it. And so far, we've been lacking with putting our players under pressure in pressure situations. So, look, I still believe that this South Africa team desperately needs at least du Plessis in it to be really competitive, to really match Quinton de Kock. Because Quinton de Kock is one of the most talented cricketers I've ever seen playing international cricket, Barry. And when I say that from my perspective, not from nobody else's perspective, like watching him, and as a bowler myself, a former bowler, I must say, a former, he makes you think. And he has such good hand and eye coordination. He is he's one of the most talented batters, apart from A.B. de Villiers, I've ever seen come out of South Africa. So they got a real diamond there. Look, once they get someone like Faf du Plessis in that setup again, I think that they can be even more competitive. So it's a good challenge for the West Indies. And look, it is not about experimenting. It's just about putting good players in situations that they can understand their roles moving into big tournaments.
All right, thanks, Tino. Let's take it another one. In my opinion, the problem with West Indies cricket is not the players, it is the fans and the selectors. I'm just asking this question, why Spiceman, he's talking about Andre Fletcher, had to be dropped. What did he do wrong in the second game? He batted for long, facing 35 balls to make 36 runs. But remember that the wickets were falling around him. Puran kept his spot. I realize that for years the players from the smaller islands are the bad lucky ones. Very good thoughts there. Thanks for that. I think Tino Best alluded to the fact that Puran should be dropped. So perhaps we don't have to go over that. But I think I agree with what you're saying in the gist of your argument there. Let's take in a voice note. Any voice notes, Mr. Rivellino Simmons?
Good day. There's no way that I would subscribe to Mr. Jason Holder batting at 3 in T20 cricket. I love Jason. I love Mr. Holder. I think he's a great player, great test player, great cricketer generally, but not for me at number 3 for sure in the T20 side. Personally, I thought the team that played in the first game was the right combination with Mr. Evan Lewis along with Fletcher and of course the universe boss at 3 and then Russell at 4. I thought that was the right combination in terms of the batting order, and then the other batters could follow on to suit depending on who's in the side. So for me, definitely not Jason Holder at 3. Okay, of course, nothing personally against Mr. Holder. Like I said, I think he's a great player.
All right, interesting. I'll put this one on Sir Clive Lloyd. Sir Clive, do you think the correct thing to do was to drop Jason Holder? Does he need a rest from international cricket for a little while? He has not looked himself, Jason Holder, Sir Clive Lloyd. All right, interesting. I'll put this one on Sir Clive Lloyd. Sir Clive, do you think the correct thing to do was to drop Jason Holder? Does he need a rest from international cricket for a little while? He has not looked himself, Jason Holder, Sir Clive Lloyd.
Well, I don't understand with having a rest. The guy is a top-class all-rounder. And if you have players of that ilk, you'd want to play them. I think the problem, they have so many of their players who are nail the same ability. The point is, I was quite happy today with what they had as openers, Simmons and Lewis. And you could have, I agreed with that. We could have played Fletcher at number 3, and we look a little bit more solid. We didn't have that solid look today. But I think that eventually we'll get the right combination, because we have some terrific one-day players, and the point is just them adjusting to situations and not thinking that that T20 is just about sixes. No, it's not that. It's if you're staying there, you can still hit the ball along the ground and make your 40s or 50s or whatever. We need to get to 180 and 190 if we're going to beat people in the World Cup, because they will have better players and they'll be playing our bowling a lot better. This is a South African side that is inexperienced. And the point is that we now have taken the initiative and try and win well, so that when you're winning, just like losing, is contagious.
Good thoughts there. I want to ask 2 questions. One to you, Johnny, and then the other to Tino Best. In terms of Jason Holder, you agree with Sir Clive? I mean, he doesn't think he should have been dropped. What are your thoughts on that? Because he's not been performing the way that we know a top all-rounder should.
I think, with my kind of international hat on, if you like, looking in from afar, Jason Holder is a fantastic cricketer. He's one of the few players that plays all 3 formats. He's to be cherished. You should build the side around him. I think he's a fantastic cricketer. And look, form is temporary. We've said that for years, but class is permanent, and you want him front and centre of a campaign in the coming up in the T20 World Cup, without a shadow of a doubt, for me.
And Tino, I wanted to ask you about Fidel Edwards. I mean, what's really going on with Fidel? Didn't look himself today, only had his first game. I know you've been, quite vociferous about him playing if he's going to be in the squad, but he did play. But is he the man that the West Indies are looking for?
I'll be honest, Barry. I love Castro, but look, Castro paced today. I know it's his first game, but really and truly, when you got that much rest, you got so much energy in your muscles that you need to really express yourself. And today, I didn't see that quickness. I didn't see that 140 plus deliveries. I mean, his quickest ball was about 138, but he was mid 134, 130. So look, my thing is this. If you're going to bring back somebody in the team that's 39 years old, they've got to be bowling 145. They've got to be bowling 90 plus miles an hour. Or it doesn't make sense bringing them in the squad and putting them on the bench. They have to be a weapon. And the weapon, when used, supposed to destroy, supposed to get wickets. And today he bowled some full tosses. The ball wasn't swinging much. And look, so I mean, this is an opportunity. I mean, he still got the Pakistan to games, Australia. I think they have 1 or 2 T20s against those guys. He has to get wickets for them to get into that World Cup squad. And if he doesn't get into that, if he doesn't perform in these T20s, I don't see how West Indies can take him to the World Cup. Because you have to, when you have a player of that age that's in the back end of his career, he has to be bringing something that is completely different. And we are not seeing it if we are going to be fair. We got to, and it comes back to the development of our fast bowlers. What has happened to O'Shane Thomas? What has happened to Keswick Williams? You got to be questioning the selection policy. You got to be questioning players' development with the bowling coaches that we have in the West Indies. Why are those players not in the squad and not playing if we're going to go back and pick a guy at 39 years old that is not bowling 150 kilometers? So that is something that we have to look at at a serious level.
All right. Thank you so much, Tino Best. Not much to add there with you on that one. You're watching On Tour. When we come back, we'll hear from the man of the match, which happens to be the captain of the West Indies. And we also hear from the captain of South Africa.
To the top, it's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to the top, it's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand.
Welcome back to On Tour. Well, the man of the match happens to be the captain of the West Indies team. We're going to hear from him and also the South African skipper.
Kieron Pollard. Kieron, congratulations. Let me read out your numbers. 51 off 25 balls, 5 sixes and 2 fours, and also 1 for 24. That's a result, personally and for the team, I'm sure you're very pleased with.
Yeah, of course. Obviously in a game like this, you got to come hard and you have to try to win. It was a must-win game for us, and it's a matter of just coming out and being focused. Hadn't faced much deliveries in the last couple of games, so you try to give myself a chance, and being there at the end is something that I've done time and time again.
And 25 runs of over number 19. We all know how important over number 19 is. You scored most of those runs and 3 sixes to start the over. That was a huge difference in the game.
Yeah, of course. I say we speak about backing down to the end. You have the power hitters to hit the ball back in the end. So it's just a matter of again just trying to set it up. Batsmen trying to bat in the middle, try to maneuver the strike. But in a perfect world, that's what we want. It's not a perfect world, but we got a result in the end.
Bad luck today. So let's just talk through the game a little bit. 20 runs off the first over obviously put you on the back foot right at the start of the game.
Yeah, I won't say it was bad luck. I think looking at our bowling display, the majority of the bowling innings I thought we bowled well, but there were probably 3 overs where I think we didn't really hit our straps there, and they really capitalized on us. The death, they were quite harsh on us, where I think they got about 60 odd runs in the last 4, and that really put us under pressure.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great stuff, great content. Let's now hear from the gentlemen, the last 10 seconds each, about their thoughts going into match number 5. Tino, first of all, any changes from your perspective?
Yeah, for sure. I would like to see Fletcher come in for Puran, and the team remains the same. I would like to see a little bit more energy from Fidel. He get picked to bowl fast. He got to bowl fast. He has to pull up the handbrake and steam in and get wickets for West Indies with that new ball early. He has to set the tone. But all in all, West Indies need to use their brains, as one would say. But I would like to see West Indies execute their batting a lot better, especially in those middle overs against the spinners. And I think that if they get the opportunity to bat, they got to score. If they get bat first, they got to score at least 190 plus. And if they bowl first, they got to get wickets up front. I am going to pick the West Indies to go 3-2 up and win the series.
Johnny Barron?
I think from a West Indies point of view, I thought we saw the template of how they may well win the T20 later on this year, which is actually pace off the ball. I think trying to outmuscle sides maybe a bridge too far, but pace off the ball was brilliant for them today. And the fact that they hit plentiful sixes. They just need to work on those middle overs and the turning ball. That's a big thing. From a South African point of view, well, they almost played the perfect game, didn't they? They just didn't have quite enough firepower. I like the blend of the side. I expect they'll probably remain the same.
And, of course, last but definitely not least, Clive Lloyd.
Well, I think that the West Indies got a chance of winning the series. Yes, if they apply themselves, they have to play the spinners much better. And the point is that when guys get to 40s and 50s, they must carry on and just don't leave it to the other players. They've got some very, some top-class players. They've played in all the one-day, the T20 competitions you can think of. And but I'd still like to see somebody like Fletcher getting a game, because he did fairly well in the game that he played in, played well within himself. But they have batting. They can bat very deep, the West Indies, and now that the bowling is the bowling could be I wouldn't say it's devastating of such, but I think we have to make more runs, as I said, against the better teams. This is a very young South African side with not a lot of top-class players, and we're struggling to make 160. And the point is we need to go out there and play intelligent cricket, and once we do that, we can beat anybody. We have some marvelous one-day cricketers, and some of the best in the world.
Well said, Sir Clive Lloyd. So it's all to play for on Saturday, weather permitting. We've got to mention that. We hope that tropical storm Elsa can stay away from this part of the region, and we're going to get some cricket in St. George's. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Thank you so much for joining us on tour. Sir Clive Lloyd, Johnny Barron and Tino Best. Until Saturday after the game, we will see you when we are on tour in this West Indies versus South Africa series.
Jump up, people, are you